The story begins in the vast, cold expanse of space, where the galaxy's most powerful and ancient alien civilizations have long existed in a fragile balance of peace. These species, diverse and technologically advanced, have been around for millennia, each with their own complex cultures and histories. The story opens within a grand, ominous meeting room aboard a massive, ancient starship that serves as the headquarters of the Galactic Council. This council, an organization formed to maintain galactic peace, consists of representatives from the most powerful alien species in the galaxy. Their mission: to prevent conflict and ensure that no one species rises above the others. However, in this meeting a grave discussion unfolds, one that involves a singular terrifying truth: humanity. For centuries, Earth and its inhabitants have been viewed as an inconsequential species on the farthest edge of the galaxy, far removed from the machinations of the galaxy's elite. The human race has always been perceived as primitive by the rest of the galaxy, having developed technology only within the last few hundred years and existing in a state of fragile peace on their home planet. The aliens view humanity with a mixture of pity, condescension, and indifference, assuming that their technological limitations and small-scale nature would prevent them from ever becoming a threat. But the Council's leaders, a group of elder beings known as the Elders of Ewim, the Galactic Accord, hold a secret, a long-held ancient warning passed down through their species: never provoke humanity. The fear of humanity is deep-rooted in the oldest records of the galaxy, spoken of only in hushed tones, often dismissed as myth or legend. The warning is blunt. If humanity is pushed to war, it will unleash a fury that will not stop until everything in its path is destroyed. The Elders are convinced that humanity's potential for destruction far exceeds anything the galaxy has encountered in its long history, and this potential, they believe, is tied to an uncontrollable and unique aspect of human nature: their indomitable will to fight, adapt, and survive at all costs. As the Council convenes, the tension is palpable. The galaxy's most powerful alien species, those who control vast fleets and have conquered countless worlds, are debating whether to ignore the warning. Some members argue that humanity's peaceful nature in recent centuries proves they are no threat, while others claim the opposite, insisting that the human spirit, when pushed, will turn into a force capable of unimaginable destruction. The elder leaders, however, have seen the historical evidence. Earth has survived numerous apocalyptic challenges and conflicts, internal strife, environmental disasters, and even the violent clashes of its own species, only to emerge stronger each time. This resilience, they argue, is humanity's greatest weapon. An impassioned debate follows as the Council wrestles with the decision: should they leave humanity to its own devices, or should they preemptively strike to eliminate the potential threat? Some of the most militaristic factions push for swift action to neutralize humanity before it becomes a problem. Others, more cautious, advocate for observation and containment. The meeting is interrupted when the youngest member of the Council, a bold and ambitious alien from a previously neutral faction, proposes a daring solution: test humanity. He argues that humanity is too far removed from the rest of the galaxy's affairs to pose a serious threat. A calculated strike against Earth's outer colonies, he suggests, would test the human resolve and offer valuable data on their military capabilities. This bold proposal is met with both excitement and dread. Testing humanity, however, could provoke them, and if the human race's survival instincts kick in, it could spell disaster for the entire galaxy. The Elders, after much deliberation, ultimately decide to move forward with the test, believing they can control the outcome. The decision to strike is made, albeit with significant hesitation, but the warning still hangs heavily in the air: do not push humanity too far, or you will regret it. As the Council prepares to send their strike force toward Earth's colonies, on the outskirts of the solar system, a quiet unease spreads throughout the meeting room. The aliens, with all their power and wisdom, are about to make their first mistake. They believe they can control humanity's response, but they fail to understand one simple truth: when pushed to the brink, humanity's one true weapon is its refusal to back down. Thus the first blow is struck and the stage is set for the great conflict that will follow, a war that will forever change the galaxy and show the aliens what it truly means to face the wrath of humanity. This opening chapter sets the stage for the entire narrative by establishing the existential threat that humanity represents in the eyes of the galaxy's most powerful civilizations. It introduces the primary conflict, the Alien Council's decision to test humanity, and lays the groundwork for the ensuing war. The fear that humans inspire, both from a psychological and military perspective, is the central theme, and this first part serves to foreshadow the devastating consequences of underestimating humanity's fighting spirit. The story picks up as the Alien Coalition, confident in their technological superiority, launches a devastating first strike against Earth's colonies located in the outer rim of the solar system. These colonies, while important for human expansion, are not heavily defended. The aliens, believing they are sending a clear message of dominance, expect a swift and decisive victory, something that will subdue humanity and prevent any potential rebellion. However, they severely underestimate the resilience and capacity for retaliation that lies at the heart of the human race. The opening of this part is tense, with the alien fleet making its approach to Earth's outer colonies, made up of space stations, mining facilities, and resource extraction outposts that humanity has built on moons and asteroids. These colonies are essential for humanity's continued expansion and are strategically positioned to allow humans to tap into the resources of the outer solar system. However, they are not equipped to handle a full-scale military assault. The alien fleet is vast, with ships that dwarf human vessels both in size and firepower, and they move with the confidence of a species that has crushed countless civilizations in their wake. As the aliens make their first move, they begin by disabling communication networks to prevent the colonies from sending distress signals to Earth. Without warning, the alien ships open fire, unleashing a barrage of energy weapons that obliterate key colony structures. The attack is swift, brutal, and one-sided. Human colonies are caught off guard, and most of the inhabitants scramble to survive the unprovoked assault. The aliens' goal is not only to destroy the colonies, but to instill fear in humanity, proving that resistance is futile. However, the aliens quickly learn that underestimating humanity's response is a grave mistake. Though the colonies are unprepared for a full-on military confrontation, humans have a unique ability to adapt quickly to crises, and they rally faster than the aliens anticipated. The first hint of human retaliation comes from the people on the ground, who, despite being far from Earth's major military centers, possess an incredible resourcefulness and will to survive. The alien forces, expecting humanity to crumble under pressure, are shocked when human survivors begin organizing resistance groups, launching guerrilla tactics against the alien invaders using whatever weapons and tools they can find. The resistance may be small and disorganized, but the aliens are forced to contend with an unexpected threat. Meanwhile, Earth's military, though initially blindsided by the suddenness of the attack, begins to mobilize. Communications are restored, and Earth's Central Command starts issuing orders to counter the alien advance. As the alien forces continue their assault on the colonies, they realize they've made a critical miscalculation. They thought they were facing a species of passive, defenseless beings, but they are encountering a species that refuses to be dominated without a fight. The most shocking revelation comes when Earth's military ships, previously believed to be outdated and inferior, suddenly engage the alien fleet with a level of sophistication and ferocity that catches the invaders off guard. The aliens had assumed that human ships, based on outdated technology and limited resources, would be easily overwhelmed. However, the human forces employ an unorthodox strategy, using their smaller, less advanced ships in unpredictable ways that confuse and disrupt the alien formations. In the midst of this counteroffensive, we meet a human military commander, Admiral Jessica Harrington, who takes command of the Earth's response. Harrington has a reputation for thinking outside the box, and she quickly realizes that humanity's best chance at survival lies not in direct confrontation, but in using their greatest strength, unpredictability. Rather than relying on traditional tactics, she begins organizing small, highly mobile strike teams that carry out hit-and-run attacks on the alien ships. These teams are equipped with modified weapons scavenged from the colonies, along with newly developed technology that uses alien materials scavenged from the wreckage. As the human forces begin to gain small victories in isolated skirmishes, the alien coalition starts to question their initial assumptions. They had thought the human resistance would quickly crumble, but instead, they are finding a foe that is relentless and surprisingly inventive. The aliens' arrogance begins to turn into fear, as their superior firepower is no longer a guaranteed advantage. The final shock for the alien invaders comes when one of their flagship vessels, a massive dreadnought, is severely damaged in an ambush led by human forces. This loss is not just a blow to the alien fleet, it is a symbol of how humanity, despite being outgunned and outmatched in terms of sheer military power, can use its resourcefulness to strike at the heart of the enemy. This pivotal moment marks the first major turning point in the war, as the alien coalition begins to realize that their initial assumptions about humanity were dangerously flawed. Part 2 ends with the alien forces retreating temporarily to regroup, but the damage has been done. Humanity has demonstrated its ability to fight back, and the fear that humanity's potential for destruction may be real starts to take root in the alien ranks. What began as a simple test of strength has now escalated into a war that the aliens are far from certain they can win. This first strike, meant to be a show of overwhelming force, has instead ignited a fire in humanity that the galaxy has never seen before. The aliens, once confident in their dominance, now face the reality of a long and uncertain conflict with a foe they had underestimated, a foe that will not back down. In the aftermath of the initial alien strike, humanity is left in a state of shock and devastation, but not defeat. The sudden and brutal attack on Earth's colonies has left many human settlements in ruins, yet it has also ignited a fierce sense of unity and resolve within the human race. The narrative shifts to Earth, where leaders and military commanders are scrambling to respond to the overwhelming alien threat. There is a palpable urgency in the air as humanity faces an existential crisis, and a powerful question arises. How can a relatively young, untested species defend itself against an alien coalition with superior technology and vast military strength? The story focuses on 3 central characters who play pivotal roles in uniting humanity's defense and formulating a strategic response. Admiral Jessica Harrington, Dr. Samuel Lang, a brilliant civilian strategist, and Lieutenant Alex Carter, a young, untested cadet who will prove to be a key player in humanity's military resurgence. Admiral Jessica Harrington, who previously took command of Earth's military response, is an experienced and calm leader under pressure. She understands the gravity of the situation and knows that humanity's survival depends not only on fighting back, but on thinking beyond traditional military tactics. She quickly realizes that humanity's strength lies not in their ability to outmatch the aliens in sheer force, but in their adaptability, resourcefulness, and ingenuity. With her leadership, the human military begins to shift tactics, focusing on unconventional warfare that takes advantage of human creativity and the element of surprise. Dr. Samuel Lang, a civilian strategist who had been working on a series of war simulations and defense theories in response to global tensions before the alien attack, is brought in by Earth's governments to assist in formulating a larger strategy. Lang is a brilliant but somewhat eccentric mind, known for his unorthodox ideas that often get dismissed by traditional military thinkers. However, in the face of this unprecedented threat, his unconventional strategies, ranging from cyber warfare to psychological tactics, begin to gain traction. He advocates for a new way of thinking about warfare, one that doesn't rely solely on superior firepower, but on exploiting the enemy's weaknesses and unpredictability. Lang's approach hinges on the idea that humans, with their chaotic nature and quick thinking, can turn the tables by using alien technology against its owners and by using psychological warfare to confuse and disorient the alien invaders. Lieutenant Alex Carter is a young officer who had been stationed on Earth during the initial alien attack. Though his experience is limited, his exposure to the violence and chaos of the initial strike has had a profound impact on him. Carter is deeply affected by the loss of human life, but his resolve hardens as he witnesses the courage and determination of the people around him. A standout moment for Carter comes when he is chosen to be part of a small group of officers sent to an underground command center, where humanity's best minds are coming together to develop a counterattack. Though initially hesitant due to his lack of experience, Carter's willingness to learn and his fresh perspective on tactics make him a valuable asset to the team. As the human response begins to take shape, the narrative dives deeper into the military, political, and social ramifications of the war. Earth's governments are forced to set aside their differences, realizing that only through a united front can humanity hope to survive. The central question becomes not how to win against an enemy that outmatches them, but how to outthink and outlast them. In this atmosphere, the human military begins to train soldiers with an emphasis on improvisation, guerrilla tactics, and small unit cohesion rather than traditional large-scale combat strategies. At the same time, the psychological impact of the alien attack cannot be ignored. Civilians who had previously never known the horrors of war are now facing the reality of invasion. Panic sets in across the globe, and many fear that humanity will fall before the overwhelming power of the alien invaders. But against the odds, ordinary civilians begin to organize resistance cells and support military efforts. Earth scientists and engineers, driven by the urgency of the crisis, start working day and night to reverse engineer alien technology, looking for ways to turn the tables on their attackers. Humanity's collective will to survive is palpable, and it becomes clear that the war will not be decided by the sheer might of either side, but by determination, innovation, and resilience. Admiral Harrington, Dr. Lang, and Lieutenant Carter, along with countless others, contribute to the planning of humanity's next move, a strategy that will rely on deception, surprise, and a complete rethinking of the conventional methods of warfare. With no time to waste, they begin preparing for the inevitable alien retaliation, knowing that their success, or failure, will determine the future of the human race. Part 3 ends with humanity's unified response taking shape as they prepare to make their stand against the alien forces. While the aliens may have been confident in their superiority, they are about to face a species unlike any they have encountered before, a species that will fight not just with weapons, but with sheer will, ingenuity, and an unyielding desire to survive. The alien coalition's miscalculation, believing humanity to be weak and docile, has led them to a conflict they are ill-prepared for. And now, humanity is ready to prove their worth on the galactic stage. After the initial shock of the alien strike, humanity begins to regroup and prepare for the next phase of the war. The alien coalition, though initially triumphant in their first strike, soon realizes that the human response is far more organized and resilient than they anticipated. In this part of the story, humanity's adaptability and innovative spirit take center stage as they develop new tactics and technologies that give them a fighting chance against the vastly superior alien forces. Part 4 opens with the alien coalition in a state of cautious optimism. While they had initially underestimated humanity, their first strike was successful in severely damaging Earth's outer colonies, and they believed that humanity, scattered and without the resources to mount an effective defense, will eventually crumble. However, what they failed to account for was humanity's relentless will to survive, and the incredible speed with which Earth's scientists, engineers, and military forces adapt to the crisis. With each passing day, the human resistance grows, more organized, more capable, and more daring. In the wake of their earlier defeats, Admiral Jessica Harrington's command staff begins refining their tactics and resources. They quickly learn that humanity's best advantage lies in their ability to think outside the box and leverage unconventional methods of warfare. As Earth's military industries retool to manufacture warships and weapons at an accelerated pace, they focus on asymmetrical warfare, hitting the aliens where they least expect it, using the environment and unexpected strategies to offset their technological shortcomings. A key development in this phase is the reverse engineering of alien technology. scientists and engineers under intense pressure make significant breakthroughs. They discover that alien ships rely heavily on energy-based weapons and shielding, which gives humanity the opportunity to design new countermeasures. Human engineers develop prototype energy shields capable of withstanding alien blasts for short periods and, more importantly, create small but highly effective disruptor weapons designed to temporarily disable alien ship systems. These disruptors are crude compared to the alien technology, but they give the human fleet a fighting chance. The effort to reverse engineer alien tech is not without its challenges. Many prototypes fail, and numerous lives are lost in testing. But the small victories in technological advancement give humanity a psychological edge, showing that the war is far from over. As these advancements unfold, Dr. Samuel Lang's unconventional war strategies gain traction. He proposes a series of high-risk operations designed to confuse and harass the alien fleet, forcing them to spread their forces thin. One of the most daring proposals involves attacking alien supply lines with sabotage units, disrupting their logistics and forcing the invaders to fight without the necessary resources. Lang's strategy is to deny the alien forces the advantage of overwhelming numbers and to create chaos in their ranks. At the same time, Lieutenant Alex Carter, who has continued to rise through the ranks, plays a key role in the development and execution of Lang's strategies. Carter leads a covert mission to infiltrate an alien command ship, a highly dangerous operation that could yield crucial intelligence on the alien fleet's tactics and weaknesses. The mission is fraught with peril, but Carter's team successfully infiltrates the ship, using human ingenuity to bypass alien security systems. They manage to steal important data, including details on alien command protocols and weak points in their fleet structure. This intelligence becomes invaluable in coordinating future human attacks and turning the tide of the war. Meanwhile, the alien coalition, sensing that they may have underestimated humanity, begins to consolidate their forces and prepare for a counterattack. The alien fleet, while powerful, is now facing an enemy that refuses to relent. The galaxy's most dominant species had hoped to crush humanity swiftly, but instead, they find themselves drawn into a prolonged conflict, one that is far more challenging than they had anticipated. The turning point in this part of the story occurs when humanity's newly assembled strike forces, using their disruptive technologies and unconventional tactics, managed to launch a successful assault on one of the alien command centers. This operation, led by Admiral Harrington, is one of the boldest moves yet. The attack is a coordinated effort, combining human warships with sabotage teams and special forces, and it results in the first significant victory for humanity in the war. The alien command center is crippled, and the shockwaves of the human success reverberate throughout the galaxy. The aliens, once so certain of their dominance, are forced to reevaluate their position. Despite the victory, the war is far from over. The alien coalition begins to regroup, but they are no longer dealing with a species they can dismiss as weak. They now face a humanity that has learned, adapted, and fought back with everything they have. The humans are not just defending their colonies, they are sending a clear message to the aliens. Underestimate us at your own peril. Part 4 concludes with a sense of cautious optimism on Earth. While there is still much to be done, the turning tide of the war is unmistakable. Humanity's resilience, creativity, and refusal to back down have given them the upper hand in this crucial moment. The aliens are no longer fighting a simple war of conquest. They are facing a determined, united species that will stop at nothing to ensure its survival. The question now becomes, how far will humanity go to defeat an enemy that outnumbers and outpowers them? The answer, as the aliens will soon learn, is farther than they could ever imagine. Humanity's newfound strength and resilience are tested to the breaking point. After their string of successes in the previous chapters, the human forces, led by Admiral Jessica Harrington and the resourceful Dr. Samuel Lang, push forward with their strategy to turn the tide of the war. However, their defiance comes at a heavy cost. The aliens, now fully aware of humanity's unwillingness to surrender, shift tactics. They are no longer focused solely on conquest, but on crushing the human resistance once and for all. The opening of Part 5 showcases the first major clash between human and alien forces, in a direct confrontation on a much larger scale. Humanity has begun assembling its own fleet of warships, enhanced with reverse-engineered alien technology. Despite their technological advancements, however, the human ships are still vastly inferior to the well-oiled, overwhelming power of the alien fleet. The first confrontation is a brutal, high-stakes battle in deep space, where the human forces, though outnumbered, attempt to defend a vital colony in the Outer Rim. Admiral Harrington commands the human forces with a calm and strategic mind, using everything she has learned about the alien forces in previous skirmishes to her advantage. The human fleet's primary goal is not victory through sheer firepower, but survival and the continued fight. However, despite their best efforts, the aliens come prepared with devastating new weapons, pushing humanity to the edge. The aliens deploy a weapon of mass destruction, an energy-based device capable of obliterating entire fleets. This new weapon catches the humans by surprise, and in a harrowing sequence of events, a significant portion of the human fleet is destroyed. The devastating losses leave the survivors shaken, but also more determined than ever to continue the fight. Dr. Samuel Lang, who had once been seen as an eccentric theorist, proves his worth in this part of the story. His ability to predict and adapt to alien tactics helps the humans formulate new strategies, but the toll of the war weighs heavily on him as well. Lang's innovative thinking is put to the test when he proposes a dangerous but potentially game-changing operation, the creation of a secret weapon designed to disrupt the alien fleet's primary energy weapon. This weapon would require massive resources and precision, but it might be the key to turning the tide of the war once and for all. Meanwhile, the human resistance, consisting of civilians and guerrilla fighters, continues to disrupt alien operations behind enemy lines. The resistance's efforts, although small-scale, are growing more coordinated and sophisticated, making it increasingly difficult for the alien forces to maintain control over the human colonies. However, these operations come at a tremendous cost. The aliens, now fully aware of the scale of humanity's defiance, begin to retaliate in brutal ways. Entire cities are obliterated, and civilian populations are subjected to the full force of the alien war machine. The horrors of war take center stage as the human cost of resistance becomes apparent. Families torn apart, cities leveled, and countless lives lost. The emotional toll of these losses hangs heavy on the survivors, especially Lieutenant Alex Carter, who struggles with the brutal realities of warfare and the sacrifice required to keep fighting. In the midst of these devastating losses, Carter undergoes a significant transformation. His previous role as a young officer, untested in battle, is replaced by a more hardened and pragmatic outlook. He leads a crucial operation to infiltrate a high-security alien facility in a desperate bid to secure intelligence on the aliens' energy weapon, which has proven to be their most powerful advantage. The operation is risky and costly, but Carter's leadership and the bravery of his team help secure vital information that could change the course of the war. As humanity continues to fight on multiple fronts, it becomes increasingly clear that the cost of defiance is high, but the stakes are even higher. Earth's leaders understand that the war cannot be won with conventional methods alone. It is a war of endurance, innovation, and sacrifice, and humanity's will to survive will be tested to the fullest. The price of defiance is evident in the human losses, both in terms of lives and resources, but there is an undeniable shift in the tone of the story. Humanity, despite the overwhelming odds, has shown that they are willing to pay any price to defend their future. The aliens, on the other hand, begin to realize that their victory is not as assured as they once thought. The human resistance, once fragmented and disorganized, is now a formidable force to be reckoned with, and their resolve has only been hardened by the brutality of the war. Part 5 concludes with a moment of brief respite for the human forces as they recover from the devastating losses, but there is a palpable sense of foreboding in the air. The next phase of the war looms large, and the human resistance is prepared to make one final, all-out push to secure their survival. However, as they prepare for the final confrontation, they know that the sacrifices they have made will not be forgotten, and that the true cost of defiance is yet to be fully understood. Humanity's survival will depend on their ability to fight, endure, and outlast their alien foes, no matter the cost, marking the climax of humanity's resistance against the alien invaders. The stakes have never been higher, and the tension is palpable as humanity prepares for their final, all-or-nothing confrontation with the alien coalition. After enduring devastating losses and mounting a series of successful but costly counterattacks, humanity has one final chance to turn the tide of the war and secure their survival. The aliens, overconfident and underestimating the human resolve, have made one critical mistake. They believe humanity is too fractured and too weakened to mount an effective last stand. In this part of the story, that misconception is shattered as humanity's greatest weapon emerges: their unity, their resilience, and their ability to innovate against overwhelming odds. The story opens with the human forces regrouping after the devastation of their last major battle. The remnants of the fleet are battered, but not broken. Admiral Jessica Harrington, still a calm and calculated leader, begins assembling a final assault plan. She knows this will be their most dangerous operation yet. With the alien forces having deployed their most powerful weapons, including the energy-based mass destruction devices, humanity must rely on their last remaining advantages: ingenuity and the element of surprise. Harrington, working closely with Dr. Samuel Lang and the military's top commanders, begins formulating a daring plan that hinges on one key factor: creating a massive diversion to pull the alien forces away from their most vulnerable targets. In a high-stakes gamble, Lang proposes a radical plan to destroy the alien energy weapon once and for all. The idea is to create a phantom fleet, a decoy armada of human warships, designed to draw the alien forces' attention away from Earth's most important strategic target: a hidden, underground facility where humanity's most advanced technology has been assembled. The facility houses a prototype weapon that could change the course of the war. However, this weapon, still in its early stages of development, is dangerous and untested. The success of the plan will depend on whether humanity can pull off the diversion, buy enough time to activate the weapon, and execute the attack before the alien forces can regroup. At the same time, Lieutenant Alex Carter, now a seasoned officer and tactician, is given command of a crucial operation. Carter is tasked with leading an infiltration team to plant explosives on the alien flagship, which serves as the command center for the invasion. The flagship, an immense and heavily fortified vessel, is heavily guarded. But Carter has a unique insight into alien operations from his earlier mission. With the knowledge he's gained, Carter coordinates a small team of elite soldiers to break into the flagship, sabotage its core systems, and cripple the alien fleet's command structure. The operation is fraught with peril, but Carter is determined. As his team makes their way through the enemy vessel, the tension escalates, with every step taking them closer to certain danger. In the background of these military efforts, humanity's civilian population also plays a critical role. The global resistance movements, which have grown in both size and sophistication, rally behind the human forces. Civilians contribute to the war effort by sabotaging alien supply chains, gathering intelligence, and providing essential support for the military. In this part of the story, we see how humanity's united front, despite the enormous losses and suffering, has become a powerful symbol of resilience. The resistance, no longer a disparate collection of isolated cells, now operates with a level of coordination that matches the alien forces' strategic capabilities. The moment of truth arrives when the human forces launch their final attack. As the Phantom Fleet engages the alien forces in a desperate battle, Admiral Harrington leads the remaining warships to a critical location where they plan to launch their most potent weapon. At the same time, Carter and his team make their move on the alien flagship, infiltrating its heart and planting the explosives that will cripple the alien command. The battle rages on as the human forces, despite being outnumbered and outgunned, fight with everything they have. The outcome of the war hinges on the success of these coordinated operations. In a climactic sequence, the alien flagship is destroyed, sending shockwaves through the alien fleet. The destruction of their command center creates chaos among the invaders, forcing them to retreat and reassess their position. Meanwhile, the massive diversionary assault causes confusion among the remaining alien forces, giving the human fleet the upper hand in the final moments of the battle. The weapon developed by humanity's engineers is activated, and its destructive power is enough to incapacitate the alien fleet's central command and communication systems, rendering them vulnerable. The alien forces, now disoriented and leaderless, are driven back, and the human resistance delivers the final blow. The chapter ends with the alien forces in full retreat, their once imposing fleet shattered and humanity victorious, though at a tremendous cost. The emotional and physical toll of the war is apparent, but for the first time, humanity stands on the brink of true victory. Part 6 captures the essence of humanity's struggle, a species that, despite overwhelming odds, has triumphed not through sheer power but through innovation, unity, and an indomitable will to survive. The conclusion sets the stage for the final chapter, where humanity will have to rebuild, heal, and prepare for the future. Knowing that the war has changed them irrevocably marks a turning point in the aftermath of humanity's victory. With the alien forces driven into retreat, the battle seems to be over, but the true cost of the war has only begun to sink in. This section explores the emotional and political fallout from the conflict, delving into the deep scars left on humanity and the fragile path to rebuilding a shattered world. Though the war has been won, the damage done by the alien invasion is far-reaching, and the survivors must grapple with both the external and internal challenges that arise in the wake of victory. The opening of Part 7 presents humanity's first moments of peace, as the surviving leaders gather to assess the full extent of their victory. Admiral Jessica Harrington, now regarded as a hero of the war, oversees the strategic debriefing with her military commanders. The euphoria of victory is tempered by the heavy toll of the war. Entire cities are in ruins, countless lives have been lost, and the human population has been left with deep psychological scars. The human race is victorious, but at what cost? Harrington, as a seasoned leader, knows that victory alone will not heal the wounds left by the conflict. In fact, the real war has just begun, the war for humanity's future. The destruction of alien command structures and the retreat of the invaders give the surviving human forces a rare moment of respite, but the leadership faces a daunting task. A vast portion of Earth's colonies have been obliterated, and many of their key resources and infrastructures have been decimated. Despite the tactical brilliance that won the war, humanity now finds itself faced with the logistical nightmare of rebuilding, physically, economically, and socially. As cities are rebuilt, entire regions must also restabilize politically. In the void left by the alien invaders, a power vacuum emerges, and the threat of factionalism begins to take root. This is particularly evident in the fractured political climate of Earth, where old rivalries among nations resurface and new struggles for power emerge. Dr. Samuel Lang, who had been instrumental in humanity's war strategies, now shifts his focus to solving the complex scientific and engineering challenges required for recovery. His team works tirelessly on the alien technology they had salvaged, hoping to incorporate it into Earth's infrastructure to aid in reconstruction. But as Lang soon discovers, not all alien technologies are easily understood or safely harnessed. Despite their victories, humanity's new reliance on alien technology proves to be a double-edged sword, with some unforeseen consequences. Lang's own obsession with using the technology to advance humanity's capabilities begins to create internal strife, as some factions question whether Earth should continue using these alien innovations at all. Some fear that adopting too much of the invaders' technology might create new vulnerabilities or worse, lead humanity down a dangerous path of further reliance on their enemies' creations. Lieutenant Alex Carter, who had once been a young officer thrown into the chaos of battle, now plays a vital role in the rebuilding process. While the military is focused on recovering territory and establishing defense systems, Carter, now a respected leader in his own right, works with survivors in the most devastated regions, helping to provide humanitarian aid and ensuring that the hardest-hit communities are not forgotten. As the war hero becomes a symbol of hope, Carter faces the personal toll of the war. survivors who cannot forget the horrors they endured, and families who are still grieving their lost loved ones. His leadership on the ground is just as important as his military success, as he takes on the emotional burden of the war's aftermath, helping people rebuild not only their homes but also their sense of hope for the future. As humanity begins to rebuild, a major political crisis emerges. With the sudden retreat of the alien coalition, new powers are beginning to rise within human factions. Some view the war as an opportunity to establish a new global order, one that could be authoritarian, while others push for a more democratic approach to ensure that humanity's newfound freedom is protected. Tensions flare as debates erupt over the balance of power and how to govern a post-war society. The militarized factions want to ensure their dominance, while the civilians advocate for a more balanced, inclusive approach to leadership. The uncertainty surrounding Earth's future governance leads to protests, civil unrest, and even violent skirmishes between various political groups. At the heart of the conflict is the idea of what it means to truly be free after such a catastrophic war. Who will hold the power? And how can humanity ensure it does not repeat the mistakes of the past? Amidst this turmoil, Dr. Lang makes a chilling discovery. While the alien forces have withdrawn from human space, their influence is far from gone. Hidden within the vast stretches of the galaxy, alien sleeper cells remain, waiting for the right moment to strike again. This revelation sends shockwaves through humanity's leadership, casting doubt on the long-term security of their victory. It becomes clear that the war against the aliens might not be over, and the survivors must remain vigilant. Humanity is not just rebuilding, it is preparing for the possibility of another war, one that could be even more devastating than the last. Part 7 concludes with a sobering realization. The true cost of the war will not be measured in lives lost or territories reclaimed, but in the ongoing struggle to define what humanity becomes in the aftermath. While victory is sweet, it comes with the heavy responsibility of securing a future where the cycle of destruction and retaliation does not repeat. As Earth's leaders, survivors, and civilians forge ahead, they must confront the deeper questions of what it means to be human in a galaxy where survival, unity, and the will to rebuild are continually tested. The reckoning is not just for the world they lost, but for the one they must now create. The one fear greater than extinction, humanity at war, sets the stage for the most existential threat humanity has ever faced. The chapter introduces the alien invaders, whose motives are initially unclear but whose presence is unmistakable. The story begins on Earth, where life continues as usual, blissfully unaware that the very foundation of human civilization is about to be shattered. The opening is a peaceful, ordinary moment in human life, a metaphor for the calm before the storm, as humanity is caught off guard by the first signs of an extraterrestrial invasion. The story's central protagonists are introduced. Admiral Jessica Harrington, a seasoned military strategist known for her calm under pressure, and Dr. Samuel Lang, a brilliant but eccentric scientist whose expertise in alien technologies has long been underappreciated. Their paths cross when the first alien ships make contact with Earth's space defenses. This marks the beginning of a chain of events that will push humanity to the brink of extinction. From the moment the first alien ships breach Earth's atmosphere, it becomes clear that the invaders are not here for peaceful contact. The aliens launch a full-scale assault on human cities, strategically targeting major military and political centers. The first major battle occurs over Earth's largest city, New York. Alien warships, massive, heavily armed, and unlike anything humanity has encountered before, descend from the sky, unleashing powerful weaponry that decimates human defenses in minutes. The scale of destruction is staggering. Skyscrapers collapse, entire sections of the city are vaporized, and the panic of civilians flooding the streets only exacerbates the chaos. The invaders use advanced technology that disrupts Earth's communications and defense systems, leaving the human military scrambling to mount an effective response. Despite their best efforts, humanity is hopelessly outmatched, and the alien forces establish a strong foothold on Earth in a matter of hours. Admiral Harrington, who is stationed at a global command center during the early stages of the invasion, is forced to make a series of difficult decisions. She quickly realizes that conventional warfare will not be enough to defend Earth from this technologically superior enemy. As the cities fall and human defenses crumble, Harrington focuses on organizing a coordinated counterattack using limited resources. But every effort seems futile in the face of the invaders' overwhelming firepower. Even the most sophisticated, military hardware humanity has developed is no match for the alien technology, which can disable entire fleets in seconds. At the same time, Dr. Lang's expertise becomes critical as humanity scrambles to understand the alien technology. Initially dismissed as a dreamer and theorist, Lang had long warned about the possibility of alien contact, yet he was never taken seriously. Now, with Earth under siege, Lang's research into extraterrestrial technologies is the last hope for humanity's survival. Lang's first task is to analyze the strange, seemingly unbreakable energy shields the alien ships deploy. Working alongside a small team of engineers, Lang discovers that these shields are powered by an energy source humanity has never encountered before, one that appears to be linked to quantum-level manipulation of energy and matter. Lang's findings spark a ray of hope. If they can understand how the shields work, perhaps humanity could develop a countermeasure to turn the tide of battle. In the midst of the invasion, the world's governments descend into chaos. Military leaders, world leaders, and civilians struggle to cope with the reality of the alien threat. Some governments dissolve under the pressure, while others seek to negotiate with the invaders, unaware that the aliens have no interest in diplomacy. The desperation grows as entire nations fall, and Earth's defense forces are rapidly overwhelmed. Yet, in the face of devastation, there are pockets of resistance. Underground movements form, and human ingenuity begins to shine through. Albeit under the most desperate circumstances, it is clear that humanity, though beaten, is not willing to surrender without a fight. In the final moments of Part 1, the narrative shifts focus to Earth's last line of defense. A group of elite military commanders, led by Admiral Harrington, who make the decision to initiate a last-ditch counterattack. They understand that the battle is far from over, and while humanity has suffered devastating losses, there is still a flicker of hope. As Earth's remaining military forces prepare for a desperate offensive, the question remains, can humanity overcome its technological inferiority and fight back against an enemy that seems to have no weaknesses? Part 1 concludes with a cliffhanger, as the alien forces reveal their true intentions. It becomes apparent that their invasion is not merely a conquest for resources but part of a far larger and more terrifying plan. The chapter leaves readers with a sense of dread, uncertainty, and an overwhelming realization that Earth's survival depends not just on its military might, but on its ability to adapt, innovate, and unite in the face of an unprecedented threat. Humanity's struggle for survival has only just begun, and the cost of that fight will be immeasurable.